All right. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. Very nice music, put me in really good mood. And again, thank you so much for coming. I hope this presentation today will just help you look at dating and relationships maybe from a different point of view. And maybe you learn something new. And if you have friends, people you know who kind of have questions, feel free to share the recording and then we can send the slides to you too. So what makes me kind of eligible to give this presentation, besides what Nessam said, that I am the certified NLP master practitioner. I've always was interested in personal development, but unfortunately in my life, I had some very unsuccessful relationships, and one of them actually resulted in a breakup, after which I was depressed, clinically depressed for 2 years. And it was so hard on me that, first I didn't want to see any people at all after that, no dating. I thought I'll be single for the rest of my life. What changed, I decided that, I'll find courage and I'll do everything differently, so that I will never get in the same situation again. I will never get depressed from a breakup. Basically, it happened, and now I'm in a really good relationship for over 2 years, and I want to share some of the ideas with you. So I'm going to start my presentation. I will share the slides. I only have 15 slides, so hopefully we'll go for about 45 minutes, and then we'll have Q&A. Okay. So again, the questions that we will cover today: how to choose a partner, how to not get hurt, how to progress from dating to relationship, and how to define love. I know that some people have different ideas about that. And the main idea here is that this is the topic, or I would say even discipline, that we're never taught at school or anywhere in the world. So basically what usually happens, we either copy our parents' behavior, right? How to choose a partner, how to be dating or being married to someone, or we learn that from romantic movies or books that we kind of absorb through our culture. And not everything we read or see or hear is actually true. So here I want to kind of share some important ideas that maybe not on everybody's radar. But humans do need both female and male energy together to thrive. And if you're lacking one energy, you may be attracted to it because this is your human nature. And also, relationships are both biological and divine. What I mean here is that, of course, there is this physical aspect, right? And I'm talking about intimacy, physical intimacy and sex, right? But it goes far beyond that if it's a fully developed relationship. And some people, they actually separate, right? They separate, okay, maybe I'll get sex on the side, and then all my other needs are covered in this relationship, so I'll stay. But to be properly functioning, a relationship has to have both sides. So biological and this divine aspect, I will cover a little bit later. And again, what is really energy, right? Energy, it's basically our emotions that manifested through our needs that we have, and we get fulfilled, or we fulfill other people's needs. Also, dating and relationships, basically it's a process of selection. And by selection, I do not mean selecting even the right person, right? Clearly, we were doing that, the most compatible match for us, but also selecting which qualities are really important to us, right? Because in the partner, or maybe even in us, because we all have certain qualities, characteristics, but when we actually being with another person, we're deciding for ourselves what is actually must have and what is nice to have. And clearly we are transforming, because no matter how good the other person is and the good partner, there will always be some conflict, some differences. So we need to look at them and decide for ourselves what is really important to us to keep the relationship, right? Or maybe say, no, this is a no, and I cannot continue. So what also I really like about similarities and differences, that some people assume that if you're a good partner, then you always have to agree on everything. This is not the case, because very, very important thing is to actually accept things that maybe you not really love about the partner. And that's how strong relationships are built. And I'll give you an example. Some couples, and you all know some of them, who live for many years together. However, they argue about little things. And it's kind of repetitive cycle, right? And you would think that, gosh, in 50 years that they're together, how come they didn't realize that this is a pattern or a habit that you just need to accept? You cannot really change the person completely. Also, there's not just one soulmate wandering the planet looking for you. There are many people who are suitable, but maybe if you meet that person, you will not recognize that they're soulmate, because it's the process of adjusting your personality to that person's personality through boundaries, right? Kind of highlighting the good qualities, but at the same time keeping your boundaries and transforming that person and yourself too. And then finally, individual and blended. Again, no matter how good the other person is, you will never be identical twins, right? You will always have something, on your own maybe ideas about something, opinions, and your own hobbies, and maybe even your own friends. You don't have to be identical. And actually, this is a good part. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about differences. I know that in today's world, feminism is really big, and I'm totally for it, that all humans, no matter what gender, nationalities, they all have similar rights. However, people are not the same, right? We do have differences. And looking at females versus males traditionally, right, in prehistoric societies, we kind of labeled men having masculine energy, right? Like you see in this picture, that men were the hunters, right? They had to be strong, the providers, and women had to be more kind of feminine and home caretakers, kind of cooking and raising kids. In today's world, everything changed. Both men and women can have either energy, masculine or feminine, and everyone kind of has to survive on their own. So, but we need to keep in mind that masculine versus feminine energy, they have different needs. And as I mentioned before, if you don't get a certain energy, you will be craving it. And, kind of stereotypically, that's why they say that women usually look for men partners who resemble their fathers, right? Not necessarily physically, but certain qualities, because kind of father the protector. And women usually, men look for women looking like their mothers, not physically necessarily, but in terms of qualities. So again, as I said, energy is manifested through needs that we all have. And for the sake of this presentation, every time you see male sign, I want to think that you thought it's actually male energy. It's not necessarily all men. And then when you see this female sign, it's actually feminine energy, okay? So each energy has primary love needs, okay? And basically, you can read on the left, trust, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, approval, and encouragement. I'll give you a couple of examples. We all know that some people, including my boyfriend, they don't like to ask for directions when they drive. They don't want to really be told what to do directly necessarily, because it kind of violates their trust. So they feel that they're not trusted. They can figure out on their own. Also encouragement, to me, it's a little bit strange, but some people ask in a relationship constantly, did I do well? Are you happy? Did I do right? Am I a good partner, or something like that? It's kind of constant questions. I mean, yes, you're doing well. I mean, why do you constantly ask me that question? But this is actually need for encouragement, so that the person knows that he or she is on the right track and doing the right things in the relationship to keep the relationship going. If you look at the column for feminine energy, the primary love needs are caring, understanding, respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. And here the example of some people, and some of my even girlfriends, they're constantly looking for kind of little signs of affection from their partner. And they may say, oh, ask directly, oh, do you miss me? Do you love me? And all those questions, which again, for some people, it seems really silly. And if they are not people of many words, it may be annoying. Like, why do you keep asking me? I'm with you, I'm calling you, right? I'm dating you. It's actually the need to be validated, to know that I'm special, I'm the only one. And then that our relationship is heading in the right direction. So we're serious, and that nothing changed. Again, it's one of the needs. And also being respected is really important for female energy. Again, all male and female energies need all needs, but those are primary love needs. And you can read more about them in this book. So the next one, actually, I want to jump to the progression stages in relationships. And this is a really important part. And I have to warn you, brace yourself, because I'm going to tell you the hard truths and the shocking truths that not all of us know. But when the two people meet, right, it's just a meeting. Kind of we get to know each other, and then maybe they're attracted by certain traits in the partner, right? It may be looks, maybe something else. So it's kind of like exciting part, and then usually male energy is attracted by physical appearance of the partner, so kind of good looking, right? The female energy is attracted by kind of smarts, right? Does this person interesting to talk to, or has a job, and kind of like a good package, has all the qualities I'm looking for. Then the second stage is basically uncertainty, because as two people start seeing each other more often, they learn more about each other, and they develop emotions based on the needs that their energy has, right? Energy needs. And as you start seeing that the other person, you kind of like certain things, or certain things you don't like. And actually, unfortunately, at this stage, during uncertainty, all are disposable. I know it's a really hard word, but no matter how exciting it was, first dates or first months, the person is not really attached to you, no matter what they said. Like, I know some people say, oh my God, this is the love, first sight, and we will be forever, ever, and I will get the moon for you, do anything, I'll kill for you. What's really happening, this is the kind of biological stage of uncertainty, that there's no real attachment at this stage. And it's not really serious yet, because you need time to really kind of prove that what you actually envisioned for yourself is actually happening in real time. So the intimacy part here, I mean, not necessarily intimacy physical, right? This is more when you get to know the other person better. And at this stage, masculine energy learns more about the other person on the intellectual level, kind of what that person does for work, hobbies. This person maybe have good sense of humor and kind of other kind of qualities besides just the looks. And then the female energy starts paying attention to physical body more, because maybe in the beginning the person said, oh, you know, I'm not sure about my partner. He's kind of like not very attractive. I mean, he's kind of smart, makes me laugh, but I am not sure, you know, if I'm really attracted to them. At this stage, the intimacy stage, the person starts paying attention to the body of the person, to the looks, and kind of accepts them. And then there's exclusive part, when they more grow spiritually together, and social commitment, when other people know that you're together and it is serious, and you kind of transform your personalities together. I know it's a lot to process, and some of the slides information is very new, but please bear with me. Exciting things are coming. So the flow of relationship, I think it's really important also to give you another look at the relationship. What is actually happening at every stage? So I picked those very colorful circles for you to explain that. But basically, as we said, meeting, right, of two people, infatuation. You see only bright things about the person. You're really attracted by either looks or smarts or something else, and everything is going well. And this stage can last from several weeks to months. Then there is satiety, or kind of like full satisfaction. You kind of, you know, you spend too much time together, and now you start seeing not so attractive parts of your partner. Some things start annoying you. You call them red flags. And it happens on both sides. And then unfortunately, it gets to the point when you think that there is more of negatives than positives. There are more weaknesses. There are things that you cannot accept, that the person was hiding from you in the beginning, that finally they showed true colors, you know, true face. So now you just discussed it, and you know, many people break up at that point. And notice that at the disgust level, all the positives kind of disappear. You only see the disgust, right? So when tolerance happens, you see both weaknesses and strengths, but you focus on strengths. You understand that you need to tolerate the things that you don't like, right? You kind of need to find your way around them, either accept them or just like don't pay attention to them. And by doing that, by tolerating the other person, you actually kind of grow to respect them, because they know they have negative sides too and some annoying habits, but they are really happy that you accept them the way you are, or you tolerate those parts. And what is most fascinating part, what's happening after, it grows. You both start transforming, because what makes you going is that not only the other person accepts you the way you are, you want to make them even happier, right? And you may, you know, kind of, you understand that you may even change certain things about you, because it's never giving something up. It's basically trading it off. You do something for the other person, they do something for you. You kind of nurture each other, right? And then you grow this way. And then you consider them best friend, because you would do great things for them like you do for your friends. And then the last stage, obviously, true love. When you understand everything about each other and you accept each other, and you go on like that. So the same view I just showed you with circles, this is the waterfall kind of diagram, which is maybe easier a little bit to understand, but infatuation, right, meeting, then kind of saturation, kind of disgust. We would kind of call this low part of the relationship, but in other words, it is dating. when you meet new person, you discover them and you kind of decide to either reject or kind of accept, right? And move on to the next level. So the next 4 levels I just explained earlier are above, and they're the higher stages of the relationship and basically relationship itself. But you cannot get to relationship without dating. So how do you choose the right partner, right? Because clearly, if you could build it with anyone, it would be wonderful. You don't need to do the search, just maybe someone would assign you a partner, like arranged marriages. However, we all individuals and we have our own preferences, right? And it comes from sometimes, again, our culture, our genes, our families. So we do have a list of desired qualities in a partner. And very often those lists are old, outdated, and not helping you. And I'll give you an example. I have a really good friend, and recently I met with him for lunch. He's a single guy, and I asked him about his dating life. And he said, well, I'm seeing kind of several women, and I cannot decide which one to pursue seriously. And I asked him why. He said, well, one has a similar background. She's Asian American. She was born here in America, but she's kind of constantly criticized by her sister that she's not a tidy person and kind of too attached to her sister. The other person, he said, is doesn't have the same background. She's an immigrant. She came from China and she lives here. However, she's successful and very financially independent. And I like that about her, he said. She has the same lifestyle. She doesn't really have to work anymore. So we have more time to spend together. And the other person is very attractive, the attractive of them all. But she, unfortunately, gets grumpy and, criticizes me. So I listened to him and I said, it's so interesting how you, notice differences, but you didn't ask the most important questions about which person to actually pursue. What about compatibility? How do they make you feel when they spend time with you? Do they accept you the way you are, right? And would you be compatible in the long run? Because all those things are kind of, interesting to analyze, but this is the most important thing. How do they feel with you? How do they make you feel? And clearly, are they capable of creating a positive relationships through, commitment and trust? And just throw this here, because again, this is obviously not 100% proof, but some people find it really helpful because there are 4 parts to attraction. Again, there is no algorithm yet, even though some dating sites claim that they figured it out. They know exactly who is going to be attracted to whom. But again, there are so many variables, so you can say 100%. Recommended, though, is that emotional connection, right? Or how you react to things emotionally is similar in both partners, because when one person feels really bad, suffers, the other person knows how to console them, how to make them feel better. And the same with the spiritual part, like having similar values in life or maybe same religion, because when it comes to deciding on big things in your life, you need to kind of have similarity in that area. But mental, intellectual part, thinking differently, right? Having different opinions, different backgrounds, intellectually is really good, because that would make your relationship last longer. It will bring more polarization, kind of interesting to talk about something, right? It's not like flat and boring and you kind of think alike. And physical part, there should be some differences. So now, what is love, right? I like this question. And clearly love is, it's different things for different people. I would say in general, it's caring, right? Caring through certain things. And when you choose a partner, right, or person that you want to spend time together, maybe in a long-term relationship, ask them, what is important to you? Like, how do you define love? And you can read this book, The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, that explains more in detail. But basically, there are five main ways to express and receive love. It's either through spending quality time together, right? Helping each other, acts of service. And maybe, again, if it's a couple living together, doing chores at home, helping the other partner, right? Also gifts, maybe some, it doesn't have to be big gifts, but some little pieces, tokens of appreciation, words of affirmation, basically giving compliments and appreciating the other person for what they do and what they mean to you in your life. And then physical touch. And here I don't even mean sex. It's more about some people really get that missing energy through physical touch. So they need more hugging and spending time together, holding hands. And some people are not into that. So if you meet a person who absolutely doesn't match your love languages, it may not work unless one of you or both of you decide to kind of adjust, right? Adjust your love languages. So kind of we're getting closer to the end of the presentation, but here is a quick roadmap. I just want to also for you to keep in mind that because uncertainty is really big in the dating stages of the relationship, it is important not to trust anything. And basically keep in mind that the other person consciously or unconsciously may be misrepresenting themselves, right? Saying things that absolutely not true. Or even like creating certain strategies to get the person, right? To get their attention. And once in my life, which I was really surprised, the person told me that he uses two strategies with women. It was a man. He said, one type who really falls for me bragging what I have, what I achieved, and they're really attracted to that. The other one is more sensitive type, would fall for me if I say that, oh, I went through a horrible breakup, I'm so miserable, I can't wait to be in a good relationship again. So this is the second type of women. And that's those two strategies he used. Clearly, he didn't have like intentions to be serious with any of them, but this was his way of starting dating someone. So again, it's a game in the beginning, who attracts who and why, which may not be true. Then important part, learn about the other person. Never trust what they say, grain of salt, kind of write down everything the person says or they promise, and then kind of check, does it really match what's happening around? And yeah, do your research too. Find what the person's strengths are, right? And what their weaknesses are, because this may be a deal breaker for you, right? If, for example, you cannot deal with a person who is a drug addict, right? Or an alcoholic, and you suffered from that in your family, it may be a big deal for you. And if you don't know that, it's really important that you find out earlier than later. But then if something is kind of, nice to have, but they don't have it, maybe it's just, you can write it off. You're just like, okay, I wanted it to be in my partner, but maybe I can get it elsewhere. Maybe I have friends who have these qualities. And then if you can actually accept, right, both their weaknesses and strengths, and they can accept yours, then you're moving to the higher stages of the relationship. Again, what is really important, I really have to highlight that having boundaries, right? And learning to communicate, right? Because clearly, if you want something from a person and you never say that to them, they may never give it to you. So maybe not in a demanding way, but in a way like I would love you to, to do that. It would make me happy. It's a different way to put it, right? So that you actually receive that maybe in some form. But boundaries important because remember I mentioned that some people say, oh, will you kill for me? We love each other so much, would you, betray, I don't know, your family or something? The sad part is this: even if you kill for them, it doesn't mean that they will love you. Because later that person may say, how can I be with a person who is capable of killing anyone? So again, what people say does not really match reality. So have your boundaries so that your values are not compromised, that you are still a person with dignity. And yes, it may be upsetting to your partner, right? Because they say, I did so much for you and you can't do this little thing for me. And then, you can just say, unfortunately, here I cannot compromise. This is the part that I am what I am, and I'll try to maybe make you happy in another way, but this is not what I can do. And yes, some couples, they break at this point, they break up because that was important to them. But again, if the person is really important to you, you'll find a way to communicate around that issue. Also, again, don't forget about 5 love languages, because what they say, after people get married, they immediately forget about the needs of the partner, and they try to give what they need, not asking the partner what's important for them. But to have a long-lasting relationship, you have to give in the language of love of your partner. And it may be not easy, right? And maybe you won't do it every day, but they say there's this love tank that you do certain things, and then when you don't do certain things, it's kind of, it gets balanced, because you can't 100% satisfy the other person in this world. Again, you decide what's, you will stay together, or maybe you will part. But in general, I just want to finish with this. No matter what energy you have, female or energy more or male energy more, again, you can adjust your energy, right? Or you can actually learn what kind of energy the person that you really like has, and you will actually do all those, satisfy the needs that the person really misses, right? Having their own energy. And again, for example, men, sometimes, if they have masculine energy, and again, not necessarily men, but they may make decisions, right? I said this, we'll go there, we'll do this, I chose the place, and the other person may really feel not validated, not important. And to adjust that energy, you need to ask the other person, what do they want to do? Maybe they can discuss, they can give their opinion, right? So that's how you actually change your own energy to match the other person. But in general, when we're really infatuated, right, very often we do not represent ourselves well. We kind of show the best parts, kind of hide the not so pretty parts. And this is why it's important to be open to people who are not your type, right? Maybe not your type, but kind of be open, because on dating sites, when you swipe right or left, sometimes you have to think about it. It's a maybe kind of not your type, but maybe this is your best chance, because with that person, you'll be yourself. You will not misrepresent yourself much, because you kind of not crazy, not much to lose. You're just curious to go and explore and see what opportunities are and possibilities with that person. Again, I mentioned tolerance and communicating better with the other person. Say what's important to you right from the beginning. And I know some people, they kind of shy about it, and I maybe go on a date and they don't say that, oh, I'm looking for a partner to have a child together, right? And when that pops up later, months later, one of the people is devastated because the other person doesn't want to have a child, right? And they say, why didn't you tell me right up front? And the person was so afraid of being rejected that they didn't mention that, although it was really important to them. Finally, you will survive on your own, okay? No matter what energy you have. You can get that missing energy from, again, your parents, friends, elsewhere. But what's really good that you are a better version of yourself with that person, right? Then you know that it's actually a good partner for you. Again, it will never stop adjusting, that you will maybe discover new things that you're not happy about. But again, keep your boundaries, tell what's important to you, because honestly, it's a tango, it's a dance of two, right? You constantly learn, you transform, and you basically make each other better. The final phrase here, a happy union is not of perfect partners, but the triumph of love over imperfections. Okay, this is it. I think we did in less